Al-Rajeh, titled the talk, Going Global with the Desert Fireball Network, Opportunities and Challenges.
Hello, my name is Yara Al-Rajeh, and I'm here with NESF survey. I'll be talking also about the Desert Fireball Network, only I'll be focusing more on the public engagement side of the project. And the public engagement side of the project, I'll be talking more, we'll be looking back at the Australian experience of the public engagement and sort of looking forward into the potential of collaborations in a global context. So one of the most interesting and amazing parts of the Desert Fireball Network is Fireballs in the Sky. And what you can see now is a video demo of a citizen science side of the project, which is a mobile app, a smartphone app that can be downloaded that is available on Android and iOS and also online, where you can just basically point it in the sky. It's very user-friendly. The learning curve is very minimal, and just point it in the sky, visually describe the fireball, and not only and just adjust parameters to specify what you exactly saw. And it doesn't end like that, but it's very interactive as well, where you can, once you submit the sighting, you can also interact with the scientists, where you will hear back from them on whether the sighting is confirmed and if there are any kind of updates to the sighting. Also, you can go back to the website, to the Fireballs in the Sky website, and see other reported sightings, whether in Australia or around the world, within a certain time frame. And in talking about global engagement and collaboration opportunities, the Desert Fireball Network is very flexible on this side, taking in a global context any other partners can collaborate either on research, by hosting a camera, providing sites for camera installation, or just downloading the citizen science project, the citizen science component, Fireballs in the Sky. The Fireballs in the Sky is not the only public engagement component of the project. It comes as part of a framework or a whole package, where in Australia it's been done through a website and blog, which I highly recommend visiting. You can see lots of adventures by Professor Bland around the Australian outback. Also, part of the public engagement framework is hosting events that host speakers and activities that have reached over 50,000 people. Also, educational resources are available for teachers that are aligned with the Australian curriculum. Also, exhibit tours, whether in libraries, museums, and in public areas. And trying to take this public engagement framework into beyond Australia and into global perspective in order to make it meaningful for other international partners to make use of the engagement aspect of the project, it needs to be localized somehow. And localization comes from language, by having the language of the app fit the targeted audience language. Also, almost every culture has its own stories, indigenous stories of the night sky, of fireballs, as well as having to align the educational resources with the local curriculum. So let me tell you just a little story about an analogy that came to mind. It actually came to our office. A few weeks ago, we received one of our first DFN camera all the way from Australia here at Survey. And in all its glory, it's so beautiful. You can see the camera inside, you can see all the components. And when we tried to just took a look at the power plug, And it's very Australian. And I guess it's just, you need an adapter to have it to work. And I think that's a perfect analogy of having a public engagement kind of component or framework from Australia. You need the right tool, you need the right adapter to have, to be functional. Some of the things to consider in going global, of course, as I mentioned before, the sociocultural context. When talking about citizen science, communities and demographics that are not fully engaged with science can be a bit hard to reach from a citizen science perspective. Also, one of the things that needs to be considered in a global, when going global, is some local policies, when retrieving meteorites and so on. Where in the world would the Desert Fireball Network would expand? Basically, ideally, a good location for the camera is from the name, the desert. But at the same time, anywhere with the sky is also suitable. So thank you very much. Please make sure to visit the website and visit the Twitter account. It's very, very updated. Thank you.
One question.
We've got time, certainly.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question then. So one question I was going to ask earlier is, are your cameras observing 24 hours a day? I mean, do you do daytime observations as well for the brighter fireballs, or are you shut down during the day?
I would have to throw this back to Phil, and he can talk more about the cameras.
No, they don't. Just at the moment, just nautical twilight. But we're thinking of swapping out the current video for a digital one that would be able to do daytime.
Okay.
I've got kind of a question. So the pictures there's a time lapse, right? I mean, it's a fisheye lens and there's an exposure. There's not an active video, right? It's just an image. Okay, sorry.
Right? So we've got a digital camera with a fisheye next to a video with a fisheye. So both of those things.
So they're both, okay.
And, we did test a kind of a triggered system at first, so that you'd have kind of high frame rate DSLR. There was we couldn't get past about a 1 second delay, which is why we went to half a second delay, which is why we went to long exposure.
So for the app-based reporting, how do you assess the credibility of the reports that you get? Do you need multiple sightings of the same event, or in other words, when people just have eyewitness testimony, how do you assess the credibility in the?
Yeah, if Phil can verify the app receives many sightings from a certain location.
Okay.
And when the reports are received, the DFN scientists will receive those reports and confirm them later. If Phil has anything to add to this, please do.
Basically, yeah, the more reports for a given sighting, the better. And I think, from our experience, if we get kind of 10, then we can do a lot with that.
So one more comment. One important thing when you recover meteorites that have that have fallen not too long ago in your case, sort of the curation is. Do you have a process behind that as well?
Yes, we do. It's that one that you first saw that we picked up. The reason it's in my hand basically is because it had been sat in organic, rich, briny mud for a month, and so my hand wasn't going to do a lot more to it. But
Yes.
outside of that, we do have protocols for curating. Yeah, we try and use Teflon bags and clean tongs, and then when they come back, put them in a dehumidified box, that kind of thing.
And you keep them at your university?
Yeah, at the moment we do. They remain in Australia. Meteorites remain the property of the state government. So we've got relationships with the museum, relevant museums to keep them for a period and analyze them.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, in Australia, who owns them?
The government.
Sorry?
The government.
The government, yeah, okay. Okay.
So to follow on that, as part of the application, the Android or iOS application, obviously that's for doing the fireballs. The likelihood of someone actually recovering the meteorites is, based on their observation, is pretty small. But is the protocol for collecting and curation, is it in the app? Because if it's not, that would be a good thing, at least from an education standpoint, to get them to understand how to
It
collect.
is on the website. We've got a lot of because it is a thing actually that a lot of people get confused about, the specific laws in a state or in a country. So we list the kind of all of the different laws on the website.
Okay. But at least the protocol might be neat to have, you
Yeah.
document what kind of fireball it was, what did you
Absolutely,
see? Okay, so
Yeah.
if you did come across a meteorite, what would you do?
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.